cold in here.
Go ahead.
Hi, welcome to our regularly scheduled board meeting of October 5th, 2021. Let's rise for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we do have a couple of guests tonight. Who is here first who would like to speak? Go ahead. Could you just come over up to the podium, tell us who you are, where you live, and what you would like?
My name is Jesse Witchman. I am here as a representative of Wild Room Incorporated. I live in Ravena, Queens, and I am here to talk about 172 Main Street that I own, or that my corporation owns.
Okay.
Do you need more than that?
Okay, yep, the old firehouse.
Yes. So I'm here regarding my tax bill. That it was just sort of a clerical error that I purchased it and the taxes for the village were generated at basically the same time. So all of the information for bills and everything was being sent to the prior owner, and I only started receiving stuff this week. So the tax bills are very late, slightly incorrect, and I'm here just to, or I was told by the clerk that I need the village board to vote in order to roll them back to the original amounts, sans any fees and all the late stuff, so I can get them paid ASAP.
Okay, so the first, let's start with the first one. What part of the bill is incorrect?
The water bill is incorrect.
The water bill, the water portion that's on your tax.
So I have a copy of it right now. I'm going to come up and bring it up to
Okay.
you.
No, I have one.
So the water portion is incorrect in that it has fees and penalties and stuff from 2020. I purchased the property from the county, and the county was supposed to absolve any debts, anything previous prior to me. So I purchased it, or I was closed on May 14th. So basically anything prior to that should have been removed or absolved. So
normally what happens is, did you have a lawyer at closing?
there was no, I guess, formal closing. Everything was done through email, and they would email me forms. I would send them back, signed.
So you did not have a lawyer review the forms?
Correct.
Okay, because usually what happens, and I only know this from the 20-some years in the office, is at a time of closing, be it either through the county or a private closing,
Yep.
a tax search is done. That's when both parties become aware of what outstanding bills there are against the property, be it unpaid water sewer, unpaid taxes. And then at time of closing or ownership, those are taken care of. The previous owners would pay for the previous water sewer bills, or they would give you a credit. And then when the bill came, you would have that money to pay it. The county has no authority to absolve a water sewer bill from the village of Ravena. They can absolve their own bills, but they can't absolve anything from us. So my first, and they'll all get a chance to give their opinions as well. My first inclination is to ask the county if they've absolved these, someone has to make us whole. You purchased the end of May. We don't get, the only reason I have a copy of the deed is because I requested it today. It takes several months for it to come to us. So the bills went to the owner of record as of June 1st, which was the previous owner. What should have happened was we should have forwarded it to you, or at that time, it would have gone to their lawyer and say, hey, this isn't mine anymore, and their lawyer would have contacted yours, you would have got it, and it would have been to you in a timely manner.
Which it was not, because
No, and I get that, but see, that's not our responsibility ends when we send it to the owner of record. Now, where it goes after that, that's not up to us to chase down a new owner, because we don't even know it's sold until we get a copy of your deed.
Which you got, you specifically.
today.
Right.
Only
So,
because we asked for it.
so then who was supposed to have sent that to you?
They all go to
Because,
the town of Queens.
okay,
And then the town assessor sends them over here. The girls can make no change on any property records until they have a copy of the deed in their hand by law.
right,
It takes several months to go from the county to the filing clerk to the town to us.
oh, I know, it took me 9 months to close on the property, so.
Okay, I was gonna, usually it doesn't take that long, but it does take several months.
Just dealing with the county, it took me 9 months to do stuff. So that's where, you know, yes, I closed May 14th. That's, you know, on the deed, you can see it says May 14th. That's when I was closed. I received everything the end of May, beginning of June. I think, like the first week of June, I received my documents from the county. You know, I know that the town, because I received my tax bill from the town in a timely and proper manner, and I paid that one already. So that's where it actually started with me questioning, why hadn't I gotten anything from you guys yet?
Wait a minute, what town bill did you get if you didn't close until May?
The town of Queens tax bill for
That doesn't
2021.
come out till January.
Well, I received
So
one.
is it a school tax bill maybe?
Or the school tax bill,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
okay.
yes.
So, and again, they very well may have gotten it. We did not get it until Susie told us that you had inquired, and I called over and got it today.
Right.
Otherwise, we still wouldn't have it.
And I'm not here to point fingers at anyone. It's their fault, it's my fault, it's everybody's fault. I just want it gone away. Like, I have my checkbook in my bag, I can pay it right now. But, you know, I don't want to have to pay all these fees just because it was sitting in the mail somewhere, sitting on someone's desk, or doing all this stuff, and that it was just a simple mix-up, you know, or slow mail, or, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Like I said, you folks can give your opinions. Based on past experience, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Susie, audit and control doesn't allow us just to waive fees because it didn't get to where it was going. And if it was our error, then I would say we absolutely would take responsibility for that.
Well, I mean, it seems to be errors coming all the way down, from the county to the town to you guys to
Right.
Bob Fisk to me, like,
I'm not sure where our error comes in.
well, like I said, I mean, the first correspondence I received is just because I came into the office last week, you know, and so here's my first official thing from the village is a bill for $1,900 because I'm 4 months late, when I just got all of this information last week. There was no, like I said, there was no formal closing. I did not receive a list of outstanding things from the county. There was none of that because they seized the building for failure to pay taxes for 8+ years, or however long it's been, from the previous owner. And so it's been, again, sitting on someone's desk for 8 years because they thought XYZ with the property. I wanted it. I came in. They said, okay, let's go. Sign here. That was it. Like, I signed four documents. And they transferred, you know, like, they wiped everything away and transferred the whole property over to my name. And then that was it.
You said you live in Ravena, Queens. Do you own property in Ravena and Queens?
Yes,
Both.
yes.
So, and please, trust me, I'm not trying to be rude. So you know there's a village tax bill in June.
Okay.
So my question is, when you didn't get one for this property, and we don't know you're the owner, would that have been the time to call Susie and say, hey, I just bought this property, where's my June tax bill?
I received, yes. Okay, so that part is my fault.
And I'm just trying to say,
Oh, that's okay. Like I said, it's my fault for not asking sooner. It's the town's fault for not letting you know sooner. Like, they were able to process all of their stuff by August. So,
But our bill already went out in June.
right, yours went out. So everything exists already. I just want to pay the actual original correct amounts and be done with all of this.
What is your original I'm sticking with this amount because this was not an error made by the village, and we can't waive it.
Who can?
Nobody, it's our bill. Audit and control doesn't allow, correct? Does not allow us to waive, unless, of course, it was our error. If she failed to send out a bill, absolutely, our fault.
Have you
Yeah.
talked to the county again about the situation?
I have not, because honestly, I would have no idea who I'd even talk to about it, because like all of this just started occurring last Thursday.
Right.
And so my first stop, the clerk's office said, come here. So here I am, but I'm having spoken with the county enough and the amount of things that they screwed up in this whole process, not gonna try and talk bad about everybody, but, they didn't send me forms, they sent me the wrong forms, the forms were filled out incorrectly, so on and so forth. I have a very firm belief that it's gonna be, oh, that's not our fault, go talk to the town. The town's gonna tell me to talk to you, you're gonna tell me to talk to them, so how do we, right, so as he said, who do we talk to get this right? Because
Could I ask, when they're delinquent and they're going into foreclosure and that, does the county get the bills for that property?
No, they still go to the homeowner
Still goes to the
unless the county's taken ownership.
Well, apparently they did because they sold it to him.
No, they did not.
Didn't you buy it from the county?
I purchased it as a foreclosed property from the county.
Foreclosure.
From the county?
Or I don't even know, it was a short sale. Basically, I said, I want this, and then they gave it to me.
We receive, when a county takes ownership of a property, we'll receive a deed. The last deed we have is Fisk, who owned that
Yeah,
piece of
right.
property. And that's where, by law, we have to send all the bills to the owner of record. And I guess when it seems too good to be true, it usually is too good to be true. And I hate to say this because hindsight's 20/20, and we've dealt with this for 20-some years. You need to have an attorney or someone when you buy a piece of property, because these are the things that happen.
Was there a realtor involved?
Nope. This was literally, I contacted, I don't know, the mayor or someone. They said, talk to this guy at the county. He's in charge of all of that. I talked to that guy. He's like, go. It was a sealed bid auction, basically.
And
That's
was
what
it really, really cheap?
It was, how much do you want to give us?
Well, that's usually,
Yes.
sometimes it sounds too good to be true.
Well, it's
It
just
is.
it was a short sale. It's like a
Right.
whole list of delinquent
And that's
properties that are
probably
tax
why.
things. But it's literally just them, we want this off of our hands. Let's get it back onto the tax roll with someone who wants the property. Like I had to write an essay, how it's going to benefit the community, and like all the nine yards. And I did all of that. They approved it. Fine, good. And then, like I said, it did take a very long time to get from the beginning to the end of it. And so, it's not a too good to be true scenario. It's just, like I said, there were no fee schedules. There were no, because they told me we are absolving this property of any prior debts, any liens, anything.
Do you have documents of that? Do
Yes.
you have written?
I have it in email. Because I asked specific questions, like,
This is a current tax bill and a current water sewer bill. I don't know if that would fall under a debt or a lien, because the county's paid the past, we've been reimbursed for past.
right, I know you generate the bill, it goes to the person pays it, great. If they don't pay it, you pass it off to the county pays you, and then it's the county's job to do collection, because you don't repossess buildings, the county takes them.
Correct.
So
And this-
regardless, you guys are made whole and you've moved
This
on.
didn't exist, this bill, when you bought it.
Correct. Or it was being created as everything was being closed.
Right, it was being created, it hadn't been sent out. But that's the problem with the short sales and the sales with the county, is the potential buyer has to do all the digging. Call the county, call the town, call the school, call the village,
Yeah.
and find out what's outstanding on that piece of property. That's part of why you get such a good deal on these, and they want to get rid of them, because you kind of accept that responsibility of knowing if there's anything.
Which is fine, like I'm told, like I'll pay the amount, $1,151, I'll pay that. But essentially it's almost like 3 cycles of water bills on there instead of just the one. Like
It's
that's
1 year worth.
that's what I'm questioning, and then all of
1
that.
year worth of water.
Right, it's from September to March, and then March to now.
Right.
Right, so like, I would want to pay just March to now, plus the outstanding tax bill, sans any of the late fees. And sans all the stuff from last September.
Well, if I could, I would. We can't, as a village, according to our auditor. We can't do, under control, I mean, legally, we can't.
I would start with the county again and see if you could talk to them, if you have something in writing that said they would pay it. I mean, you don't have a lot of confidence in them, but it's worth a shot, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, but ultimately so she said you could, but now legally you can't?
No, she said she would if she could.
No. The clerk said that the board would have to, right, like you guys have control over all this stuff. So once it goes past these dates, then it becomes set in stone. There's no way to, it was wrong here, 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 and here. There was
Well, yes,
mistakes
if we
left
could-
and right, but.
If we could show it was our error.
Well, not your error, but it's just an error in general, because you're creating the bill and sending it out into space. Like, it's got to be somebody's responsibility other than mine solely for not knowing about it, and then it just being,
Well, you would have known when you paid
incomplete.
your other village or town tax, when you got that bill, wouldn't you have said,
Well-
like, what this property, so if I got my tax on this property, why didn't I get my tax on this one? Wouldn't you said that? I mean, I know, because I bought property and it hasn't gone in and.
my wife didn't bring it up at dinner. She's the one that writes
Well,
those checks.
well,
But regardless,
right,
like I
because I
said,
know I had to
so-
call getting tax
But
bills. And
I've owned this property for nearly 5 months, and you had to specifically request the deed. Why wasn't it sent to you? Like, these are some of the things, like I said, it's my fault, it's the town's fault, it's the county's fault, it's everybody's fault, but I'm the one that has to pay for
We
it.
wouldn't have had it by June, no matter what.
I know you, like even 1 month, 2 months, like what's the statute of, like it shouldn't take that many months for it to come across
But
your
here's the thing.
table.
Even if we got it, June 5th, none of these amounts would be any different. Because this water sewer would already be on this bill. This bill would have already been generated.
Right,
So-
the bill would have been generated, but at least we would have been able to talk about it at that point, or even I would have just been, whatever, an extra $400. Let's just make this go away, get it all straightened out and correct. But, now where it's not a $1,600 bill, it's a, nearly $2,000 bill, $1,915 or whatever, 17.
When did you become aware of this bill?
Last, Wednesday, Thursday, when I
And
came
how
in?
did you become aware?
I had paid my school taxes. I decided that I realized I hadn't gotten anything from you guys. I came down to the office to see what was happening. The clerk printed out a copy for me. She also gave me my most current water bill, also going to Bob Fisk. And then, like I said, the first official anything I've received from the village came yesterday, stating that I was behind by 4 months.
I don't see where we can help them.
It appears that the consensus is we have to do what we're allowed to do by law, and by law, we cannot make these numbers go away.
But you're not allowed to amend them. Like, they don't need to go away. They just need to be,
But again,
adjusted.
when an auditor comes and says, why did you not pay, why did you change this bill?
And are they not going to believe you when you tell them that
that's illegal.
no one sent me the deed for 5 months, that it was going to the wrong guy, that it was the wrong amount from the, like,
But at no point can we say, it was our error, we're making it right. We've got to be able to say, it was our error, we are going to make it right. We followed exactly what we were supposed to do. We sent it to the owner of record. We have no way of knowing that there's a new owner 3 days prior to when this bill goes out. At that point, our responsibility stops. When you take ownership of a piece of property, that's when your responsibility picks up. And again, that's why you get these properties at such a bargain, because it then becomes the purchaser's responsibility to find out what the unpaid balances are on the property from each municipality.
well, according to what I was told, it should have been 0. Like, even technically this bill, just based on the overlap of it, that wouldn't even apply because I came into the property at the same time that you guys made the bill. So technically it would go to the previous guy and all of that's been absolved or some other such thing. Like, this is your property. It's not our responsibility, but pay us like that. Like,
Well,
I
this
understand, like, that's the
This bill
system,
isn't the
but,
responsibility of the previous owner, because this property tax bill is for June of 2021 through May of 2022. The water sewer portion of it would be the portion that you should have, would have, could have gotten credit for at a real closing, and then you'd have that money, the $625 to put towards this bill. The $1,100, that's really yours, because it's for the upcoming year. That portion is really, honest to goodness, yours. The only portion that you would really legally be able to argue is the $625, but again,
so have you been paid for that by the county?
no, they don't pay, no, we don't send these bills to the county. They went to Bob Fisk, or Joe Fisk, or whoever the owner was at the time.
Right, but the county makes you whole, right?
This bill won't go to the county till November.
Until this.
Until November.
Okay.
Right. They made us whole for the past years, not this. This is current.
So who do I talk to?
I'd start with the county.
And get a lawyer and talk to the county.
Well, I'm not gonna spend $300 an hour on a lawyer to save myself
But it's the
$300 on a
law.
water
We
bill.
can't change the law. I mean, that's the thing. We understand that you're in a tough spot. We do. I want to help you. I want to write you a check for $400 out of my personal account.
Well,
But
I'm trying to make
it's
it
the
go away,
law.
not
We
cost
can't-
other
We
people
can't
money.
bargain with taxes. It's not like, you can't bargain with taxes. It's the law. We'll get in trouble if we do that. Then the people of Ravena have to pay that. So I understand your situation, but this is why a lawyer is present at a closing. And I mean, this is heartbreaking to hear you say this, because I understand. But we can't change something that's legally in statute. I mean, I'm really sorry, man.
That's
But-
why foreclosures are very,
Charge for water and sewer that when he didn't own the building.
The bill is from when he purchased the building. Right.
The water sewer gets re-levied onto the property tax bill. At a closing, the seller would give the buyer the money for that water sewer bill.
Right.
He didn't have a real closing, he didn't have a lawyer, none of that was researched, so now he's stuck with it.
I'm willing to help you and go with the county and try to investigate that with you.
Here you go.
But legally, we cannot change the fees, But I'm willing to work with you and try to do some digging and research and try to straighten this thing out,
Which I appreciate, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I pay the amount as it stands, if I write that check, is there a way to reverse it or be credited for it or any of those kinds of things? Or is it once I write the check, I'm accepting it and it's done?
I know what you're saying.
Because I have, 10
Here's
days
what
here
would
to fight
happen,
this.
in my opinion, is you're gonna wanna write this as soon as possible so it doesn't continue to accrue interest.
Correct. I want
If-
this to go away.
If you and he work something out with the county where they would give you a credit.
Right. Like, I don't even want my money back. You can apply it towards the next
Well, no,
thing
then
or
the
whatever.
county
Then the
be
county
giving
would do
you
that.
Right.
Credit.
Right.
That would, in essence, be reimbursing you for this.
Right.
We're not gonna reimburse you for this, because this is what you actually owe.
Right. You guys are essentially a middleman now between me and the county. That's my understanding of this. You guys are in charge of creating the bills. I pay them. You get whatever money you're supposed to get.
Well, we really don't have anything to do with the county. I mean, this is between you and the county, and.
Right. It's between me and the county and how to pay you, but you're not responsible. I'm responsible.
As
They.
the purchaser, having to have done the research to find out what outstanding bills were against this property. When you buy a foreclosure like that, that's what happens. You gotta find out.
Right, I did. I asked. They told me nothing. I said, is there going to
That's
be
why you
somebody's
have to-
crazy uncle going to show up and be like, I have a vested interest in this? They're like, no, all debts and liabilities will be wiped away. You will be coming into this property at zero, and then from that point forward, everything is on you, which
You know what?
is,
As of May 14th, this bill didn't exist, so I guess they were technically telling you the truth.
right. But the water bill did exist. That was already a formalized bill, like I have one for right now that I have to pay tomorrow. Like, so that bill should have been zero, or zeroed out, I should say, instead of being
I've never heard
forwarded.
The county in my now 30-plus years here has never paid an outstanding water sewer tax bill on a piece of property before they sell it. Because that's up to the person who buys it.
Okay,
And you weren't told that, my guess.
no. Again, it was all just talk to this guy, ultimately I was dealing with like assistant attorneys and, lawyer clerk people, and so they're just sending me documents, sign these two things on the dotted line, send it back to us. And it was just property descriptions, my corporation information, it's like,
And I
this
get-
person used to own it, now you own it, we owned it, now this.
And I get how you would believe them. There'd be no reason not to believe them.
Right.
The county,
I
it
know
should.
fully. But we deal with the Department of Finance, when a piece of property goes through the county. No one ever called here asking if there was anything outstanding. So it may partially bear some of the blame on their shoulders for
Well.
selling you property, not knowing that there were outstanding water.
Or just not doing their full due diligence or whatever you want to call it. Really, I should be credited because there's no water there at all. I have to drive home every time I need to go to the bathroom. But, all right. May I get a copy of the original water bill from March? Do you still have that? Okay. I can get that tomorrow when I stop by to pay the current water bill. All right. Just so I have.
Seriously, if you want me to help you, I will.
Yeah, I'll definitely take you up on that. Just having, as
Get off.
opposed to some,
Phone number.
I'm gonna
here's an annoying property owner trying to get his taxes waived or some such thing versus, an actual village board member. Has a, hopefully more weight, unless you've made people
I'm
angry.
gonna give you his phone number. Plus his email is on the website as well.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get
look
some
there.
answers.
What are you gonna do with the firehouse?
Right now, I am knocking down everything that does not hold it up and yanking it all out. As you probably saw, a giant dumpster out there. I'm getting another one on Thursday. So I am actually currently now, and actually I was going to lead off. Do any of you have great or better than good suggestions for a plumber and an electrician, and possibly a gas-based HVAC person.
Yes. I mean, I do.
Privately, we can't do that publicly as a village.
But,
Wink,
buil-
wink, nod,
building
nod.
Each
inspector.
of us has had a good
Yes.
experience with a
Yes.
plumber and/or electrician.
Yeah.
Building inspector's a great guy to ask, because he'll be the one
Yeah.
that knows
Yeah.
where.
If he would call me back, he's harder to get a hold of
He is
than,
hard to get a hold of.
or connect with, I should say.
But again, if you want to reach out to each of our emails and ask us that,
Sorry, yeah, off
Yeah.
the record.
Yeah,
and we can just tell you who we've had good experience with.
Right. All right, I guess that is it for me then.
well, good luck with your business, though.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we're happy to have you. Are you doing, going to be doing tattoos?
As long as you all approve me to do it, so.
Are you
yes, I
on
was
the
trying to
planning?
stay as civil and cordial as I could be, because I also need to come back for that,
Good.
but.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
I don't.
Yes. Yes, so I'm a tattoo artist as well as a professional comic book artist. So I am looking to outfit the entirety of that building for tattoo, comic books. I'll have shipping and receiving for everything that flies out into the universe there, private studio, possibly a public gallery, so on and so forth.
Be nice, very nice.
So,
Sweet.
yes.
Very good.
Good.
Get to the planning zoning board as soon as you have
Yes.
some ideas.
Well, I have ideas.
Because,
Basically, I was trying to get with Mr. Burns about filling out all of the proper paperwork, doing, all that kind of thing for the official end of it, and then I know I have to
Put on the
draw
agenda.
plans or diagrams or some such thing in order to present to all of you, to show like what my vision is.
Well, it's planning
Yeah.
and zoning board, and they meet
Okay.
once a month on the fourth Monday, but you'll want to get on the agenda.
Right.
And Gabby is the secretary for that, so you can probably contact her when you come back in tomorrow.
I had actually,
Is he
one of the
Susan?
zoning people stopped by, or code enforcement or something, he actually stopped by and talked to me. I was
Right,
supposed to
Travis?
be telling them to set up a meeting with me, but that is yet
Oh,
to
good.
happen.
can he just come to planning zoning for information?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
anybody, yeah, you can come for information and talk to the zoning board members.
And is it a meeting
Explain.
basically like this, like that?
Yeah.
It's very informal.
Okay,
And it's when?
It's the fourth Monday. I don't have my calendar on me.
At 7:00.
7:00.
is it here?
It is, right
Okay.
here, yes.
The sooner you go and start getting the ball rolling, the
Yeah, I know that it's a little bit of a process, and so that's why I was trying to get in with Mr. Burns and then do the planning and zoning, so all of that would kind of overlap with me renovating the building, so hopefully when everything would kind of come together around the same
And
time.
we have an attorney that's usually there that night, so if you have any questions, that's a good time, that she could help you out with anything, too.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I need to talk to the grant writer also to see if I qualify, because I am, like I said to her, I'm pulling out everything that doesn't hold the building up, which is basically everything, because it's a stone building, and then putting all back in new, green,
Cool.
hippie, everything, so,
Good.
yeah.
Good luck. and
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
You'll do well. We'll get it all squared away.
Gotta get my bones in working order.
I'll give you a compliment first before I question you. I think the leaf pickup, the brush pickup, and the snow removal, the village does an excellent job. Can't complain. Now,
sooner you know. Okay.
Can you just name where you're from? all
Barbara
that?
Tanner, sorry.
Okay.
Ridge Road. The houses on Main Street that's been on auction for how many years now?
Which house?
On Main Street, the
Wings,
auction
The old
houses.
wings.
Oh, the building.
Yeah, what's going on with them?
Well, it is in, we were close to being able to take it down and work out with the county, because Billy just mentioned this at our last meeting. COVID came, that stopped. So it's slowly starting to come back. We have not taken our eye off the ball on that building, or the building across from our present firehouse, which is burnt out. There's a few buildings that the planning zoning attorney is going to be working on moving forward to either get them taken down or to motivate the owners to do something with them?
Yeah, because Main Street really looks horrible. I mean, it really does. I'm not the only one saying this, you know? It's not an incentive for anybody to move here.
Once you knock them down, I'll take the 3 spaces across from the firehouse.
We'll hold you to that.
Yeah, I'm not paying water bills though.
Well, if it's vacant, if it's land, you don't have it.
I can only add to that a little bit, being a liaison for the planning board, and so is Mary Ellen. Of course, that's been on everybody's mind forever, and numerous, I think Joey has a file this thick, I went to look at it, of attempts to get to the owner and get that settled and stuff, and no responses still. So what we have just done the past 2 months was we hired the lawyer for the planning zoning board. We hired her for more hours to specifically work on these issues, and she is
Okay.
working on them. Because we have found that, and so she is working on them.
Yeah.
at
Well, I
the
brought
present.
this up about 3 years ago,
Yeah,
you know, and
Oh, yeah.
still nothing's been done. And COVID wasn't back 3 years ago, so.
right, I think it takes many, how
No,
long
it's
does
an
it take?
eyesore. It's
It is.
horrible.
Oh, it's
It is.
awful.
It
I've
drives
known
down the
forever.
property value and
It
everything
is.
else. And it's
We're-
the owners that left it derelict.
Yeah.
There's
and poor
other
Jonna
buildings that they
has her-
could be open.
Yeah, her insurance next door, and, you know.
Nobody cares.
And
They
for
don't care.
years, you know, Barbara, they were paying their taxes, so we couldn't
Right.
legally do anything, and there's still buildings that are paying their taxes, and it's,
But see, that's something's gotta be done about that.
Well,
Just
the
because you
county-
pay your taxes doesn't mean you can
You
leave
bet
your
you're
house
right.
in disrepair.
you bet you're right. And
You know?
the state has, brought in different programs for inner city, like I know the city of Troy.
Right.
They have brought in programs that, but we don't qualify because they're a city and we're a village
Yeah.
for the program. But you probably know of those programs where they can now go in and be very aggressive to the landlords of these buildings that are being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I know in the town, if your grass grows too high, the town or the village can have somebody come and cut
Yes.
it and bill you. Well, why can't they do that with a house that's in disrepair?
I
At
know.
least for the
Because
facade.
we
We do, but they don't pay
What's
anything.
that?
What would we do with those houses?
I'm just saying the facade, maybe you could paint it or something, but
It's private
I'm just
property, we can't.
throwing this
we can't
out as
go
a,
on it.
you know.
If someone else
Well,
owns
the
it,
grass is private property too.
Right,
but they would have been notified, and if they refused. The thing is, too, those buildings have to be declared unsafe, or,
With an engineer.
or,
Has the fire company gone in there or Joey Burns gone in to see if
Yes.
it's safe
Yeah.
that's why we.
for fire?
We've been discussing this constantly
Yeah.
since I've been here.
They're not safe, right?
No, and we,
Right.
that's why we can go forward on 2 of the buildings, because the fire department. has-
Okay, I'm gonna keep at your word.
It just
We-
takes
Believe me, we
forever,
want this all cleaned up as much as you do.
Believe me,
I have to
more
drive
so-
past
more
that
so than you do,
too.
but-
I'm not from here, so I don't have any connection to these buildings. Get them, mow them down, let's build new, let's start
go.
from new, let's move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear you, because I never hear you at a board meeting. Now you're speaking up, Joe. Good for you.
that's because he's.
I'm always speaking back there.
Okay,
Believe me,
next
I
thing
talk.
is, a few years ago, I asked the mayor if he could plant some trees by the park so there's some shade in the afternoon.
We got some.
And he goes, yes, we're gonna look into it. Well, no, he's looking to the dog park for trees.
We just got, I don't
Nothing's
believe
been
they're
said.
all going there. I don't believe they're all going there, just to let you know.
That's
as
what
a
it was said
liaison.
at the board meeting.
Well, I haven't had a discussion with them yet. I'm the liaison for the park area, and I will have a discussion with him, because I
Okay,
don't believe
because
it's
it's
needed all
hot.
there.
It's really hot
It
in
is,
the afternoon there.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
All right, going on to the
Around
park.
the, well, for the
playground
Little
area?
League and area.
Where the younger
Couple
kids
more.
are,
They
that
just
was
took
the-
down that big tree next to the building, but that used to have a park bench around it because it was old and it fell down.
Yeah.
And it was dangerous, and there could be another one. I have definite discussions that will happen.
Going on to the park. The park's not very nice looking. Not nice to play in. I mean, the equipment that they got is chintzy equipment.
Well,
Really?
it's not.
It is.
My kids love it. I see every
The
kid I've
new,
seen
the
there.
new equipment I'm talking about, Joe.
Yeah, mine
It's,
is that
it's
too.
cheaply made, really.
Well.
And there's a little tunnel. Big deal.
Well, the kids are in there all the time. As a,
Well, because they have no place else to go,
Well-
but I and other people are taking our kids to Cooksaki.
What do they have that's better?
No, they got it better.
Oh, they
It's
have
a
a
be-
zip
it's a whole-
line.
It's 10
They
times
have a
better.
beautiful,
they had the
uh,
money to do that.
kids
It's a lot
can
better.
run up and down this and climb up it and slide down it, and
Yeah.
even New Baltimore Second District has a better thing than, I'm sorry, but I really think the park needs some work,
Well, we won't say anything.
you know?
But we are looking at something that we will have news for you probably by the end of the year.
Okay, all right, I'll keep you to
And I think it's
it.
gonna be good news.
Oh, and the handicap, that
Yeah, I'm not
handicap,
sure.
that was
went in before
broken.
me. That went in before me.
But it was broken about 3 weeks ago.
Was it broken? I haven't been over there
Henry
in
was
about.
told about
Yeah.
that last, he was made aware of that last week, so I'm not sure if
Yeah,
it's been fixed.
because I was there 2 weeks ago and it was fine, but, because I take my grandson there constantly. And, he loves all the stuff that he's able, and he's a little one, that's why they have little equipment there, that was.
And under the swings, there's puddles. Can't they put some,
They, well,
mulch
this
or
year-
something?
This year, of course, because of the rain, you're exactly right. They did add more mulch to the playground, as you probably noticed, and it does look good. This year was very hard upkeep because of the rain.
but I'm
You
talking
can
about
see-
under the swings. There's
Yeah,
no
they
mulch
were-
there.
Maybe they weren't, it wasn't put there, I'm not sure they got that direction because we were more concerned with the safety of the children.
But it's been that way. It's
And
been
it has
that
been
way.
deep. So what we could probably do is add soil under there and then some mulch on top.
Yeah, you
That would be an
need
easy fix.
something that the
would be an
kids
easy
don't,
fix. Yeah. I
swim.
would say soil and mulch would
Yeah.
work that.
That was the best part.
Okay, let me see. Henry did a good job on Wendell, but it's still bumpy. Is he gonna continue or is that the end of it?
Are
On
you
Wendell, at the
talking about
beginning
where it
by
goes down?
Cumberland?
'Cause I walk that area.
Yeah, by
I
Cumberland.
don't know
It's
about
bumpy,
that.
it's
That's a
still
good question.
bumpy.
It is, it waves like this on the side, because I do walk that area.
No,
a
I'm
lot.
talking about the road itself.
Oh, it is
By
itself? I
by
didn't notice
Cumbie,
that.
before you get to Cumbie's driveway.
Okay.
If you come off 9W, it's bumpy.
I didn't notice that as a walker.
Is
Okay.
that new paving or patching?
It was new paving, where I noticed it as a walker is up near the stop signs at the top of Wendell, and it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of. like
Yeah,
this.
right.
That's where I
Right.
noticed it as a walker. And down, walking to the end of it, I do not notice it because.
Well,
I'm
no,
in a
you're
car.
walking. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
walking.
driving a car.
And so, and I
Yeah.
haven't been on that road a lot when it comes to the vehicle, so, I'm not positive of that, but I do know what you're talking about up near the stop signs of Wendell.
Yeah. Now, the village taxes are the highest they've ever been, but I don't see anything going on in the village. So where's our money going?
Well, the tax rate hasn't changed
No, but it's the highest it's ever been.
because the assessments went up,
It's still the highest it's ever been.
of which we don't have control over, because that's another thing that the village gave away, was the assessing unit that was given to the town. Not that that's good or bad, but when you do that, you lose any kind of control.
Well, the assessing can be good,
No, you're right, because it
Can
keeps
be good.
everything up to par.
right?
So we have purchased a new dump truck that you see, that we were in dire need of. The fire department needs some equipment that we are in the process of purchasing, outdated hosing. Playground equipment
Water,
that was paid for,
yeah.
with that money.
But that couldn't have been much. You only
It
got,
wasn't very much.
you only got two
Yeah.
things. I mean,
You have an increase in, benefits as well, which go up. What other major,
Well, the water lines, the
yeah, but that
sewer.
wouldn't come from out of taxes. What other major purchases have we made?
but the problem is, Nancy, and the board, not just Nancy, the whole board, there's nothing concrete that I can say, I'm paying $4,000 a year taxes, which I'm not, but if I was. And this is why, because the village is so nice.
Oh, I wish I had
Look what
that
they've
for
done
you.
for us.
Not this past water bill, but the one before, you should have gotten something in it that told you what some of your taxes are being paid for. They're going towards paving streets, they're going towards the streetlights that are on your street, your snow plowing.
I pay for the streetlights
You know,
too. Oh, yeah, I do. I have a late tax.
You're right, you pay for it in your tax, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right,
That's what that money's
Right.
going for.
right.
You get your snow plowing, you get your street sweeper, you get your stumps grinded, you get your Christmas trees picked up, you get your leaves picked up. You get your fire department, and your public works.
You get a
You
free
get,
pool.
the pool in the park. I mean, those are all the things that
The,
you
the,
get.
the town does that too, but look what else they're doing. They're doing Drummond Park, they're doing that all over.
And you know how they didn't raise taxes, because they dipped into a slush fund.
Hey, that's what it's there
And
for.
we can have a slush fund that big too, but where do you think it comes from? It comes from
They
taxes.
raised everyone's assessments by 300%.
Yes, they did raise
Yeah.
So
assessments.
going back to my building, that went from $85,000 in value to $220.
Yeah,
So yes, I'm gonna be talking to the town also
Yeah,
about.
Wow.
you have grievance day in
That's
May.
crazy.
Lowered from
That's crazy.
600,000 to 170.
But anyway, those are my gripes. And like I said, there's good things too, but there's things that really need to be taken care of. And, you know, I don't know what the solution.
Do you really honestly think you don't get much for your taxes? Let me ask you, what do you get for your town tax?
I get my town, I got parks all over the place.
Okay, what else?
well,
We
What
get
park?
those concerts in the park,
You don't pay for those.
no.
the town does.
They're donated. But what do you get for your town tax? I'll tell you what I get for mine. I
What?
get the rescue squad,
Yeah,
I get the police department,
right,
and a paramedic, and the parks.
right.
That's it.
Well, that's pretty good,
But
Nancy.
nobody-
You don't get snow plow.
But you don't, I don't get my day-to-day needs met by them, except through the ambulance.
What do I get from the village?
Brush
where I live.
pickup,
What do I
stump
get?
grinding, Parks, pools.
Excuse
like I
me?
said,
What?
Stump grinding, brush pickup, paved roads,
I get
let me
that
see,
paved roads with the town.
parks, you got the parks here as well.
I get the
Town
park
doesn't
with the
pay
town.
any of your roads.
No, the town.
They
doesn't.
don't do mine, but they
state.
do the town roads, so, yeah, and I use those, so, yeah, I
don't
do.
believe, I'm not sure you pay for that part, because there's a Part A and a Part B in your town tax, and we don't pay, we only pay to the Part A, we don't pay to the Part B.
I have a park down in Queens, the Port of Queens has a park.
She's saying.
I don't
park,
pay for
not
that?
park.
You don't pay for what?
The Port of Queens Park?
What park is in the Port of Queens?
The one, the Queens
Queens
Park.
Landing?
Oh, Queens Landing.
Yeah,
Oh, you probably pay for that.
yeah, so I get a park, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And I get the fire, I get the police,
you don't get
you
the
know,
fire from them.
You
I
don't
get
get
the
fire from
town
them.
fire.
No, you don't.
Or
You
I
don't
get,
pay for
it
that.
doesn't matter, Nancy. I'm still saying, the village has got to wake up and start doing something with our village.
It does matter, because if you think you're getting services that you're not.
Oh,
you're
I just
absolutely
made a mistake.
Okay.
I misspoke, I'm sorry.
not. If you have suggestions, which you've given quite a few to Linda, then she will work on that
Okay,
and address that.
so you're in charge of the park?
Park, pool,
Just the pool?
park and pool,
Okay,
park.
all right,
She'll work on your trees
okay,
and your puddles.
okay,
Puddles. I'll get that out to Henry, and that'll probably be done
What's-
when it comes back.
okay,
Yeah, he's away.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
wait.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's good to hear from you, Joe.
Absolutely. You will be hearing from me more in the future,
Good, good.
believe me.
Oh, dear God.
Laszlo, anything?
Oh,
No?
Barb, you dropped your mask. Oh, there you go.
Oh, thank you.
All right, before we go on, can I have a motion to accept the minutes from September 21st?
I'll make a motion.
21.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wait, we need a
He
second.
did. Oh, I'll second.
Joe, you're.
Yes.
And yes.
It's the wildlife laws, not the dog law. Right?
I'm gonna mention it,
Okay.
yes. Okay, so next is, we're going to have 3 public hearings on our next meeting date, which is October 19th at 6 PM. Proposed local law number 4, which is amending the Village of Ravena zoning ordinance and zoning map. Proposed local law number 5 is to regulate solar sighting in the village. And proposed local law number 6, which is to amend chapter 65 of the village code regulating fences.
Fences.
Those are available in the office. I believe they can't be posted because they're a little bit lengthy, but they're available if anyone wants to stop in and see them. So that will be October 19th at 6 p.m.
Point of information?
Pardon me?
Point of information, can you give a gist of what the fence law is? You know, condense it to,
It's talking about heights of fences.
Yeah, they jacked it to 6 feet. Is it, what did they,
Brought it up a little high.
Yeah,
It's
look,
talking
It's-
about heights of fences in non-residential districts.
I think it went to 8 or 10 feet. And the stipulation to that is they have to have special poles, right, to hold
Yeah.
those fences. And I have to refresh my memory on the last
know.
one. But I think that's what it is. It's so they can go a little higher with the fence.
But it is available in the office if you would like to take a look at it. That's a short one.
If you need a copy, Laura.
about the residential.
No,
Right, because we already have a law for the residential, but this is for non-residential.
But for the record, I already have fences up, so it's not, that doesn't faze me one way or the other.
Okay.
good.
We would like to refresh everyone's memory, just in case they missed it at the last meeting. When we did enact local law number 2 of 2021, which is the wildlife feeding law. Just to quickly summarize, once this law is passed, it has to go to the state to be filed, which is where it has gone. As soon as we receive acknowledgement of that, this law will be enforced to the fullest extent, might I add. To sum it up rather briefly, no person shall feed or provide food for any wildlife within the village limits at any time of the year except for songbirds on a regular feeder of no less than 4 feet elevated from ground level and adequately secured. It shall be unlawful for any person to feed or cause to be fed any wildlife except as accepted herein within the areas designated as the village of Ravena. It then goes on to say that there will be penalties. A violation of section 3 of this law, which is what I just read, is a fine of not less than $100, not more than $500 for your first offense. Any subsequent offense within 5 years will be punishable by a fine of not less than $500 and not more than $1,000. We're trying to take a severe stance on this because even as of late, we are still receiving complaints, pictures, phone calls.
Yeah.
Buses are being delayed because you have 50 ducks in the middle of the road and they can't just drive through them. This is going to stop one way or another.
Yes.
So forewarned is forearmed. Letters were delivered to many of the people in the areas of violation with a copy of this law, so ignorance is no excuse at this point. We don't want to see you slammed with a $100 fine or a $500 fine, so we are begging and urging you to stop, and you are being warned officially again that as soon as this law has been accepted and acknowledged by the state, it will be enforced. So be aware. Okay. I will enter into the record the all funds bank reconciliation for the month of September, provided by our Clerk-Treasurer. I have the highway work report for September. Again, bag and brush pickup, out with the sweeper, mowing and trimming. They are working, they've assisted the contractors with the water main project that's being done on Western, I believe is where they are right now. They've also assisted New Baltimore, trimming trees, repairing the park after it got beat up from the festival and that rain. And they had a couple of water breaks, both in the same day, one on Dempster and one on Winnie. So they have been kind of busy.
they're trimming back all the trees on all the sidewalks as well, which is a very good.
Oh, they need that, yeah.
Assistance. In fact, we had a resident in our village who had a tree removed because it was becoming dangerous, and it wasn't expected by this resident, that was.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
and she was thrilled because it was becoming a danger to her property too, and it was all done for free. I mean, the village did it for her.
Well, if it's dangerous, it
Yep.
helps with our insurance.
Yep.
September water report, also, keeping up with daily maintenance, monthly sampling, work on the high service water main project, which is, from the water plant down to 9W. And they are still working, they're proceeding with the water main upgrades, again, on Western right now. And taking care of his monthly health reports being sent to the county. We have the planning zoning minutes for August 23rd, 2021. I'm not going to enter the Mosher Park pool report yet because you
I
want.
haven't looked at it yet.
Right, and you want some, more figures.
Yep.
Okay. And lastly, we have the Town of Cleveland's police report, which I'm very happy to begin getting again. The chief was kind enough to break down numbers for us. Actually, the month, and this is for August, the month of August, they had 611 calls for service in the village as compared to 574 outside of the village. 10 arrests were made, 195 traffic stops, 96 tickets were issued, again, 54 in the village and 42 in the town. And then, of course, they are dealing with any ATV complaints that actually have been going through the village and into the town. Dirt bikes, wheelies, and loose dogs, and they were very helpful. They were at the Friendship Festival, so I thank them for that. So again, thank you to the chief for addressing these numbers for us. Let's see, we talked about our public hearing date. Oh, the other thing we're going to do on our next meeting, which is the 19th, even though we're having these public hearings, we don't anticipate a large crowd, but we are going to open another public comment meeting. It's not a public hearing, it's just a public comment. And that's going to be regarding, we want input for or against, we just want public comment in general, on the marijuana legalization, sale for adult use cannabis in New York. We want to hear about your thoughts for it in the village. So come and also speak, listen, whatever you would like.
When is that?
Pardon me?
The next meeting.
19th.
The 19th.
The 19th.
We've
yeah.
had one in September.
Yeah, it's the second one.
This is only our second.
If people
There was no
can't-
opposition.
If people can't come, they're more than welcome to email into the clerk. She can print them out, we can read them. Email any one of us, we'll print them out. But you're welcome to come and speak, or just come and listen. Okay. Mary Ellen, anything from you?
I do. Chris Bernacki here is chairing a breast cancer walk. It's going to start here in the village on the 17th at 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's put on by the VFW Auxiliary. We have quite a few members that has been affected by that, and we like to do something here in the village to recognize people that have passed away or in honor of someone. So that'll be right here in the village. As always, zoning and planning board, I like to bring that
Is there a
up.
fee?
There's no fee, but if people would like to donate, the money will be sent on for different breast cancer.
It's going to go to True Life.
True Life is,
Someplace in.
they do the wigs for the people. So we like to get a lot of people out that day. It'd be nice to come out.
Or sponsor Mary Ellen, or me, are you gonna go?
Yes, I am.
We'll all be there.
Joe, are you watching?
Joe,
Yes.
you're going, yeah.
sponsor anyone.
Any one of us, we'll all be there. And I always like to bring up zoning and planning board because they only do meet once a month, so I like to make sure people know to come and get on the agenda. Now we're getting into fall, but when people were putting sheds and pools, so they got their permits and stuff. And if you're having troubles with anything, you can let me know for zoning and planning to get a hold of any of your ideas for stuff. I think we're all done, we hope, with mowing lawns pretty soon, although it's been pretty wet out. If the rain ever stops, that's right. That's pretty much what I have going.
Joseph?
I think I talked too much today. But I do want to reiterate how important that breast cancer walk is. I think everybody's been affected by cancer in one way or another. I know breast cancer in particular, my family's been hit by that. So I think it's a great event, and I, happy to, do it, and hopefully encourage more people to get out there and get and walk. And it's good exercise. God knows we all need it.
It's not that far, we're not walking that far.
We have,
No.
I think we're gonna have two different places to walk, because we have some people that like to walk, and then we have a few of our ladies that are like, okay, just
I'm
around the
good.
table maybe.
So-
We're gonna accommodate
Wear your
everybody.
pink that day, Joe.
I will wear my pink ribbon.
Real men wear pink.
I have a pink tie.
I'm okay with that.
He's all set.
All right. And that's all I have.
Anybody in the public, please.
Please come.
There's
I'm
no
join.
registration, you
I
just
have
need
one
to show
more
up.
question I meant to ask
Oh,
you.
you're allowing
Sure.
this up, Barb.
Well, you were at the meeting, so at the town board meeting, the business association, whatever it's called, came and asked questions, which I think is great, all right? I called Joy and asked her when she's coming to ask the village these questions. She said she already had a meeting with the village. Well, I think the village should want the people to hear your answers.
That's fine. Initially, they had wanted it to be outside of a public meeting, because there's things you might just want to say that.
No, I understand that,
So we
yeah,
did. We had our first one. We actually had two.
right.
supposed to have one today.
We were supposed to have one this week, but
Well,
a
the-
couple of them became ill, so we didn't.
The big question I have is, George had a letter from the mayor saying that you were going to act independently of the town. So I want the people to know why you're saying that.
Okay?
And that's why, no, I'd like to have them come and question
Let the mayor answer that.
the village like they did the town.
Well, why? I
I'll
don't.
give a short answer.
That's just
I'll
big.
give a short answer.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, okay, well, hold on. But if you would like to address that letter, I would say, ask Susan.
No, it's not the letter. I want all the questions that they asked the town to be asked of the village.
Well, they did, but they didn't ask,
But they
give
didn't
them
do
to
it
us in-
publicly.
They didn't give them to us in writing, and we didn't have time to think about them.
We'll be happy to answer any question.
Exactly.
That's not what I'm saying, Joe.
Then what are you
You know,
saying?
it's like there's two people, the defendant and the plaintiff,
It's
right?
like, yeah, why don't we get them in the same room? It's like the rivalry between Ravena and Queens. Why?
I don't know.
Why does that exist?
I don't know.
The only people that exist to are the people that live in this town.
I never
and
knew there
village.
was a rivalry between the two boards. I knew the
There's
fire
no
company.
rivalry.
Well, you're just telling me that there is.
My point is, there's no reason why we can't communicate.
Exactly.
None.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a bigger picture in the
But
world, and
this,
it does.
this is an
The
example.
picture that you've been painted is that we don't want to communicate with them, and that's not
That's
how
what the
I
letter
feel.
said.
No, what the entire letter, I'll answer you, because she didn't really want me to address her about this until we're all here together. And what that letter was addressing at that time was, it nowhere in there did it say, we refuse to work with the town. What it did say was, we would like to remain independent from the town.
It didn't say that. It
Well,
said you were going to act alone.
Okay, and that is addressing the idea of consolidation. We want to remain independent.
I understand. I don't want the village to go away. I think it's great.
It can be construed by whoever reads it or hears it to mean whatever you would like it to mean. But
Yeah.
I am here to tell you, and I think I can speak on it, correct me if I'm wrong, that And we told the business association, we are absolutely willing to work with them. Yes, things were being thrown back and forth. You didn't call me, well, you didn't call me. The phones work both ways.
Right?
Things happen,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, sometimes they're hard to get past, because I think we're all very loyal to our village, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting up here. So sometimes it's hard to get past things that get said, or that we get left out of. But that letter was not written with the intent of
You can't
never-
say that. You didn't write the letter.
We all approved the letter.
Yeah, but you didn't write it. So like Judge Judy said, you didn't write it, you can't tell me what it
Well,
said.
you know what, I'm gonna have to pull it up and see if it's written by the mayor and the village board. which I
Okay.
believe it may be, or just the mayor. But he wouldn't send that without our approval.
Yeah.
Because it reflects on all of us,
Right,
obviously.
right.
Um,
But again, I still think they
Did I
should
answer your
have,
question?
they should
I
have
just
come.
was interested.
Okay.
They should have come to the village as well and asked the same questions.
But they have come to the village, it just hasn't been at a
No, I'm-
meeting.
But
I'm
not in
sta-
public.
I'm not here, I don't have those questions that they asked, Joe.
We'll invite you to the next meeting, you
I
wanna come?
don't have those questions. I didn't know, I wasn't at that meeting, I was watching it on TV. I wasn't there.
Then we'll invite them to ask those, I mean, whatever what would you want us to do?
I would like you to invite that business association to come to a meeting and ask those questions of the village board.
Well, I think that's something you have to ask them.
I
because-
did.
Because they.
I did, and their
Okay,
answer
all right.
is, we already had a private meeting with
They
them.
initiated those, well, they only met with two of us, because that's all
Just
we could
end this.
do.
We'll set something up.
Thank you, Joe. Thank
End
you.
it. Pull the plug
We're
on it.
probably not gonna go over the same questions.
That's
Why
okay,
not?
Nancy. Just move on.
I didn't
Move
answer
on.
the question.
We already spent 2 hours doing that, but okay.
Let's
Thank
move
you,
on.
Joe.
You don't have to feed.
Related to making laws?
Oh, can you come over here?
Up there? Sure.
So related to making laws, say the wildlife law, don't feed them. How do you arrive at making those? Like, we have a problem with people feeding ducks and foxes and whatever else, and we need to
Yes.
make it go away?
Barbara.
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you start? Is that where you?
Right. So then going back to what she was talking about with the derelict buildings, can you make that a law? That the upkeep, the maintenance, that basically it's against the law to just maintain, regardless of whether they're paying their taxes or not. Is it possible to create like a public beautification law or something like that for forward-facing buildings
We do
within
have
the
property
village?
maintenance in our codes, which is the one that addresses the grass. Or if
Right.
you have garbage around your house.
Sure.
Certain things, but then there's New York State property maintenance.
Okay.
I believe some of the bigger ones are from New York State that our building department has to go with.
So the state says that it's okay to have a burned out building.
Well, it doesn't really say that, as long as they're paying their taxes, and then you have to prove certain things, and it takes forever. And even with grass, and I know, because I worked in the building department for a while, when you're trying to get a hold of these people, well, they don't have that property anymore. Now it went to
I know,
another
I own
property.
it.
So now
So-
I've got to send it to this bank, and then that bank's, oh, they didn't have the property, then it goes to the next bank. But you have to go through a process where you have sent these letters out and give them 10 days. Sometimes you don't find out. I think we have a property for a lady who's been dead for like, how many years in Ravena, and her property's still there because somebody's paying the taxes.
The beautification part of it, I know we've talked about this before, there's houses in the village that could use a coat of paint.
Right, well, there's a difference between needing a coat of paint, and we know that that building across the street from the firehouse had a raging inferno up through the middle of it.
But
Or
it
the
has
one
to-
down the street from it, you know, it's burned down and it's for sale.
It has to be declared structurally unsafe by an engineer.
But it's even beyond the engineering aspects of it. Like, we can't just look at it and say, this building is unsafe. Yes, you have to hire an engineer
Right.
and do all of that things. But we can look at it and say, this building is half burned down, and it is a visual detriment to
Right.
our community. It's a detriment to my mental health. It's a detrimental to, it might fall and crush her while she's out feeding ducks. Like, is there a way to create, essentially it's like how communities like Saratoga or any of these other historic areas, Kinderhook is a good example. You can't paint your house non-historic colors there.
Because it's in
So-
a historic district.
Yeah.
Or just anything like that. I mean, regardless of what the reasoning is there a way to create, village standards or community standards, town standards, however it falls, that is unique and personal to us, that is, greater than, like the state is saying, you pay your taxes, we don't care, because, that's just words on a paper, they're not actually looking at it, versus this is our community and we do care. Like, is there a way, like we care about ducks holding up the buses and all that kind of thing, so we can create a law to thwart that. We don't like the fences being more than 8 feet tall, so we made a law to address that, grass, whatever. Why can we not address the fact that there's, burned up buildings or boarded up buildings?
We really
or-
are, it's just that it takes so long to do it.
I had asked about how you can go to other communities and see how they make burnt-out buildings be boarded up, like within
Right.
24 hours. You can't compare us to the city of Albany. They have engineers, demolition crews.
Right, they have their own
Correct.
army
But
of people.
I did ask about, just out of curiosity, the boarding up of the buildings.
Right,
And the one building in particular that I asked about, I was told by the building inspector was they didn't want the entire building boarded up because they wanted ventilation.
right,
So, I mean, so there are all different circumstances. Now, the building department has been working nonstop. Linda made reference to this a bit ago, for several years on that building across from Ravena Firehouse with that owner.
right. I know that
Nonstop.
that one is it's still owned privately by the guy. There's insurance things. And then
been
he's just
going to
not doing
rehab
anything.
it, and then not rehab it, then not
Right.
answer his phone calls, not answer his letters. So, right, there is only so much he can do. Now, when you talk to him about your business, because you're gonna be talking to Joe Burns about opening that business,
Yep,
I suggest you get it straight from the horse's mouth. I don't wanna misspeak about.
Right, right.
Because there's
but
certain
this
laws
is
I don't
just
know
a
to quote them.
casual
Right.
inquiry
Right.
because I'm putting my business onto Main Street. I have a vested interest to make this awesome. I'm going
Right.
to make this awesome. And that means, taking down that auction building and making that a patch of grass so then we can do something else with it. Same thing with those burned up buildings. Like, I want that 3-piece lot so I can do all sorts of things there. But again, like, I'm just thinking in the grander terms of, as a business owner, as a resident, town government or village government, how can we start working together to start essentially eliminating some of these silly problems that, I know it's not your fault that it is the way that it is. It's, these owners and delinquent owners. I, as a landlord, know that a vacant or an absentee landlord, I have to live within 40 miles of my properties in Albany County or within upstate New York. That's a law. So, if you can't get a hold of some of these people, there are other legal avenues for pursuing action and different things like that.
That's interesting.
I would love for you to become more active. I
Yes.
know you joined the business association.
Yes, I'm new here. I'm still trying to figure out, well, I've lived here for a while, but in terms of governing and
But I
all of
mean,
that,
that's-
but
They have the fortitude to go forward with a lot of this stuff as well. I think you would be an asset to that.
right, like, I have an idea. I said if someone can front me several $1 million, I will fix Main Street
That's what we want to.
within the next, year and a year and a half. But just like, I'm looking just in terms of, in the meantime, until I can convince somebody to do that, how can we, I guess, put Band-Aids on
Right.
eyesores, or simplify the process of moving forward, either, publicly as the village government stepping in and saying, legally, there just seems to be a lot of our hands are tied with this. We can't do anything because legally it's this, whereas there should be a way to make adjustments.
You know, Jess, we, as you probably know more better than we do, it was originally supposed to be taken down by the county.
Right.
Yeah.
You've dealt with the county,
Yes.
and so therefore that is a definite, it's not gonna stop us,
Right.
but it's a definite hurdle to.
Well, and it's one of these things where I know publicly you guys can only do so much, and the village doesn't want to own these properties any more than, anybody else. But there just seems to be a little bit of a barrier, and like I said, most of these problems could probably be solved with just a bunch of money, and that's sort of my solution to a lot of these things, just throw money at it until it goes away. But I don't know, like I said, it's just a conversation that I'm interested in having, pushing forward, and seeing how it can become an actual thing where we can start as a community, start having a uniform standard, and it's not about, oh, you growing your flowers too tall or anything, totalitarian like that, but there should be a base level where having a burned up building that, is just visually, or even, the ones next to it that aren't burned up, they've been vacant for decades. Like I moved here in 2008. I moved to Central Ave, then I bought the Windy Hill house next to the elementary school. So like I'm invested in this community and I want to see it thrive. Like I think Ravena could be the next Kinderhook, or on a much smaller
Hudson.
scale, something like
Could be
Hudson.
I said that
Yes.
10 years ago.
Hudson, Troy.
But you have buildings like these vacant buildings that they still own. They have no
Right.
interest in doing anything with.
Right.
Believe me, it's as frustrating to me as it is to you, because I
Right.
go out around the state, in the capital, selling Ravena.
Right.
And I come home after,
Yep.
spending my time in New York City, Syracuse, any God forbidden town across the state, and I see bushes just sitting there vacant.
Yep,
And
that's
then
another
we
one
clean
that's
up the
unsafe.
outside and people give us hell for that.
Well,
That building should be gone.
Yep.
The building winglings, whatever it is, should be gone.
Yep.
And you're right. They're eyesores. And it's as a village government, as a town government, as a state government, we are bound by laws.
Yep.
Private business, funding, money. Like you said, money. That makes the problem, that solves all our problems, right?
Right.
We need to take steps as a board, as a community, as partners with the town, as partners with the county, as partners with the state, and clean up this damn town.
Yep.
Because it hasn't moved, none of it's moved, and Queens Landing is the same thing. And if you
Yep.
think they're doing much more with your money down there.
They're not.
They're not. They're helping themselves. We all need to work together. We need to communicate. There can't be this, I'm on this side, you're on this side.
No, I don't care about
That's ridiculous
sides.
because it's only hurting ourselves.
Yep.
And the only people that realize that are the people that move in and see people fighting within themselves and say, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
Correct?
It's 100%
I mean,
that.
It's
and
just, it's mind-blowing, and it's egos, it's pride, it's all this stuff. We need to put all the emotions aside.
yeah, it's like the
and
Sharks
work
and the Jets.
together.
And I don't care about any of that. I want to fix from 9W all the way down to the waterfront.
That's it.
And like, again, I guess, this would be, like what you were saying, come to
Nancy,
whatever
what's
meetings.
the red X's on the, is that the fire companies?
In Albany,
And no, Ravena and New Baltimore.
we don't have
It's a,
red X's.
it's a unsafe building for the fire company to go into.
We don't have any of those in the village.
The
Maybe,
occupancy,
But I know New Baltimore,
Usually, I know in Albany, the fire department does
New
it.
Baltimore has some.
well, they're on some of the buildings on Main Street in Queens where it's, do not enter this building.
Well,
It's
there's signs that say
right.
that. I mean, we don't have the red X's, but there are signs that say, no unsafe for occupancy. Yes.
Right.
Code enforcement can do that, be it either beams or floors or something that they can't go into. And they've told the fire department of certain buildings that they
They
cannot
won't go into.
as well.
It's so unsafe.
But going back, yes, and it is a slow process. But I do believe that in the past couple of years, Main Street has slowly started bringing business back, starting with Rail to River, which again is a slow process, but it's moving. And then, the purchase of the building next to the firehouse, which is for sale or rent.
Yeah, the one that Joy
is getting
did.
fixed up as well. Again, they did a beautiful job fixing that up, but now getting someone to come is, of course, is the next thing. And then you've got, there's a burnt-out building down by the Thruway Bridge. That's just been sold. That's gonna be rebuilt and fixed up again. So slowly but surely, it is happening. It's not gonna happen all at once, but people are starting to get, Laszlo's building is showing life again. So, I mean, it is happening.
Sure is.
Bushes, we can't force them to sell as much as we would love to.
And
Oh,
there's
we're
been
gonna,
plenty
we're,
of
we're gonna
that
force
building
them,
makes
don't
me
worry.
angry because I walk past it every day, and they've let it go on to the point where you can't do anything with it.
Yes,
And
I've been in that building also.
10 years ago, you could have
so-
done something with it.
Right.
But
And they have had
that's an
offers
owner that
to
doesn't
buy
want
it.
to do anything.
They've
Yeah,
had
there's
many offers.
3 owners, and they want like $500,000
It's
for that building.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the community suffers for that.
Yes, that's, I mean,
And our property values go like this.
well, despite the town assessor doing that.
Yeah,
but
well,
Yeah.
That's
Like
another
Linda had said,
conversation.
The bridal shop, she's doing well.
Right.
She's doing very
Well, and
Their
that's,
TV, internet place next down on that, they're doing well. I mean,
Next to the
so,
halfway house.
Yep.
And your building's gonna be open.
Oh, I can't
So,
wait.
yeah, it is slow. I
Right.
think it's the big eyesores that we look at.
gotta
looking
get rid
at
of
the
them.
most,
every day.
not the little things that are going.
right, well, I mean, and that's, like, and that's, I'm not sure if making something like a community beauty standard should be a law, or if it's something that it can just
maybe we
be
can try again.
like a
That's been-
code-based thing,
yeah.
or,
That was tried a few years ago. There were grants available for the people on Main Street to take advantage of.
And just
to-
one person.
And one person.
One
Well, it doesn't
person.
mean we can't do it again.
right,
So there's where the RCS Business Association, they have such good information with granting and stuff like that. So if you become a member of that, that's the way.
Mm-hmm. I am
that
a
we
member.
can- You are a member, that's right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's where the grant money would be researched and available for, and we as a village also spent some of our tax money on a grant writer.
Right.
And my hope is that we'll have some pretty good news pretty soon.
Laszlo, did you take advantage of that one, the Cornell Cooperative Extension?
Yes.
Yes, and it was like a match.
Matching grants.
Right,
Yes.
like the owners had a match, and it was amazing that I believe there might have been two.
Oh, my, two, yeah.
2 people on Main Street took advantage of this matching grant.
We
Two.
tried to, but we were in
Pretty
Queens.
much. So
The
it is
big
very
issue-
disheartening.
The biggest issue was the asbestos shingles on the outside of the building.
right,
But nobody wants to touch them, nobody wants to, take them in the
Right, right,
dumps.
right, right.
So that costs a lot. But to follow up on what you're trying to say here, is that you have to go by best practices. I can assure you with Socrates, even with the pandemic, not a business was lost. You go down there, you got that hairpin turn, but there's people going in the stores, in the shops, the antique stores, and businesses, and tattoo parlors too, so.
Yeah.
yes.
Down there, it's not that it can't be done, you have to advertise
Damn.
that we're here open for people to come in. And you have to be realistic. Cornell, the building across the street from me, that is now the bridal shop and something else, that's been vacant for 20 years,
Right,
all right? Because he wanted X amount of dollars for it, and he ended up dying of cancer, and his wife finally became realistic and says, I'm keep paying taxes on this.
yeah, realized she wasn't gonna get $300,000 for that
Right,
building.
and, somebody took it over and, put their, their input into it. And the same person, did that for a couple other buildings.
Yeah.
And then the person came to me and says, what do you do with your front? And I says, nothing, it's just a storage. And made an offer, and he came to the zoning board, planning board, and said, it's their dime. They want to put the money into it, they're more than welcome to.
Right,
And I call it lively peach, but it is the color
It is like.
I call it creamsicle, but,
I can't even enunciate the name of the Victorian color that it is, but it is a Victorian color. And it's gonna be accented by other stuff. Debating on whether to paint the cornices, the hearts on the one side purple for just the veterans.
It'd be great when you come out of the
I
dispensary.
think you should get advice from the artist.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna say no, don't, I mean,
But then again,
but you guys, I mean, I know Joy and.
Are we almost done?
Yeah,
I need to pee my pants.
like you're doing something,
Right.
you know.
I'm not, she.
Well, she is. Things are being done.
Right.
Like I'm, once I'm done
And that's-
doing the inside of the firehouse building, I'm then gonna
But
go
that's
to
the
the outside
partnership.
of it.
That existed, there was a house in Bethpage, we all thought it was overrun, okay? We thought that was just a sidewalk that was overrun by grass. When we went there, and we said, it's not the bucket brigade, we'll help clean up the yard.
Right.
For this 90-year-old woman, turned out to be a two-car, what you call it, driveway.
Right.
So when you sweep away all the, the grass and
Sounds
dirt,
like my
and
patio.
we thought were trees, were overgrown juniper bushes, the juniper trees. But then you get that help from the churches.
Right.
You go to churches, look, you gotta find out why people can't do something, because sometimes they can't afford it.
No, I
But
get
they would
that
love to have the
totally.
house painted.
Well, and I'm thinking, I'm viewing it more as the businesses, yes, some people can't afford to paint their houses or other things like that. And it would be obviously things within reason. And it's more about having a conversation about it, starting up a dialogue and arriving at an idea. Because there's a big spread between people not being able to afford to paint their house and allowing a burned up building to stand for a
Right.
decade, or bushes. Like these buildings are abandoned, essentially. The firehouse that I acquired, 172, it was abandoned. For the umpteenth thrift store, didn't make it in there, surprisingly. He abandoned it.
I
He
didn't
walked away.
understand.
And
And so,
that is the other side of the story too. Some people take on thinking it's easy,
Right.
and then they find out it's not.
It's not. And this is a tough market.
Anyway.
You know what I mean? It's a tough market. People have to, one of the things too is we all have to take pride in the community. And we also have to buy local. We have to do all those things. It's a symbiotic relationship with everybody, you
Right.
know?
well, and that's the idea, is that as a business owner, the better I do here, the better you will
You're gonna
do
do.
here.
Yep.
Via my tax money when I pay it, all the way up to, you guys being able to then take that and apply it to buy her trees or, new playground stuff. And so I'm viewing it as the bigger picture, and that I want 15 more of me, or people like me, hopefully, that are just going to come through and take a property, hopefully
Right.
max it out, and then thrive. And yes, slowly, it's a building process. Like I've been building my tattoo business for 8 years, and now I'm at a place where I can come here and hopefully open it up. I've been doing comic books for 13 years. That the whole thing is a building process, and I know it's slow, and just like any of you, and if you've had other work jobs, whatever, like it takes a process in order to get there, and it definitely takes a village to get anything done.
Right.
So that's why what do I need to go to? For whatever you said I should come to
The
talk about
The
this?
planning board.
Well, the
Planning
planning
and zoning
board, but
board.
then you were talking
The
about,
Business Association?
and those are the only two things.
And then Joe Burns, right? We want to talk to Joe?
Yeah, Joe Burns. There wasn't like any place else, something else I need to join.
think so.
Just
No.
making
Not
sure.
yet. I mean,
Making sure I
I
got
can think of
everything.
some
If we
things
can,
for
if
you.
you can email me, we'll try to figure out who this county person is and.
I mean, I have all
And
their
nail 'em
names. I
down.
saved all of the emails from all of them.
I think that's your best
Perfect.
bet.
Yeah, that's
I
where
really
we go.
do.
Right, so,
All right.
that's it for me.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
No, I only have one job, to get some dirt and some stuff, and I am gonna get some trees.
That was the
Actually,
best
it's
part.
funny, I did want to say about the trees. In this infrastructure package, however people feel about it, whatever, Syracuse got 2,000 trees. And there was a lot of pushback from it. But what the story was there was a hurricane 10 years ago, they lost a lot of trees. And this program that was set up by the federal government allowed them to get funding to plant these trees. I will personally look into how they got that.
I'll donate 25 pine trees for my front yard.
Ah, there you
How
go.
tall are they?
They're a little
How big
big,
are they?
huge.
Oh,
It's
they're
the
really
pines going
huge?
across.
Oh, no, you can't.
I think for
You can't
Christmas,
transplant
Christmas.
those.
So, but that's all I got.
Bad attitude.
Susie, I know you had one thing you wanted to say.
Yes, the 7th, which I believe is Thursday, is the last day to pay your water and sewer bills without penalty. As of the 8th, there will be a penalty included in it, it's on your bill. Just to let everyone know.
Coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So, I would like to make a motion that we pay the audited bills for abstract 5-1-21. Voucher numbers 5-1 to 5-33, with the exception of 5-29. Linda's gonna follow up and get more clarity on that. In the amount of $95,969.08.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Yes.
And Linda has that voucher in case anyone's looking for it. Do we have anything else? I think this was a record. Billy, if you're watching.
He is.
You are not allowed to not come anymore, or maybe you just intimidate people and they don't want to talk. I don't know. But,
Poor Billy.
are we done? Or you have anything else?
I'm good.
Bill, you okay? Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn at 7:35.
I second that.
And yes.
Yes.